Hi everyone and welcome to Bear Clooney Watches channel. I am Bear Clooney, Bear who loves watches. And before we go to the topic, I do want to appeal to all of you. Please subscribe to my channel. Allow Genuine Watch Enthusiast channel to exist among the sea of channels who are utilizing this hobby and this platform simply only for financial gain. I hope that you will support me. Now, back to the topic. Omega versus Rolex. How did this all came about? Well, I have a different social media vehicles, platforms. So I posted some of my newest watch arrivals to my collection on Instagram, on Facebook, and the community tab on the YouTube channel. And some of the people commented, Bear, you are on Omega kick. I thought about it, and you know what? I am. Definitely a large number of my newest additions to the collection are from the Omega. Started, I think, with the Omega No Time to Die, Seamaster 300. Went to the Omega Seamaster 300 Titanium re-edition of the vintage 300 Seamaster, the Planet Ocean Oreo, the GMT, the annual calendar, and the latest edition, which is today's wristwatch check, is the Omega Seamaster 300 with a truly beautiful contrast of the bezel, which is ceramic black bezel, and the white ceramic dial. I think this watch is just gorgeous. So, you know what? I thought I'm the right person to discuss this Omega versus Rolex story. You see, they're perceived as two competing companies, but I always loved both of these brands. They are by far my two favorite brands. And I love them, I think, for the right reasons. I love, and I think for both brands, their history. I love their horological achievements. I love the competition they were in itself. I love the story behind the watches that they produce. I love the aesthetics of their watches. And I think that makes me a genuine fan of both brands. So, even though for my friends and those who are following me, I'm perceived as a Rolex fanboy because large number of timepieces in my collection are Rolex pieces, I genuinely love and appreciate Omega as well. So, what is going on in my mind lately? What is going on in my approach toward these two brands? I'm going to share with you honestly how I feel about it. So, for a while, Rolex was starting to affect me in a negative way. And I'm going to say what I didn't like about what I've seen Rolex doing is they're more and more trying to position themselves as the luxury brand rather than horological brand. Why am I saying this? It seems that they have bypassed the whole watch community love. And they're trying to assert themselves in the realm of the luxury brands that are status symbols, that are wanted for the different reasons than love for watches. What I mean by that? Well, I think their competition is not any longer Omega. I think they're more and more positioning strategy on competing with other luxury brands. So what makes you luxury aficionado? You're gonna have your Hermes purse, you're gonna have your Rolex watch, you're gonna have Louis Vuitton, you're gonna have Porsche as a car, you're gonna have items that symbolize wealth, and status. In this big scheme of things, they managed to really position the brand in a way that everyone wants it. So there are these artificial shortages, demand, very high prices on a secondary market. And I don't know that that's something that a true watch enthusiast enjoys. Mind you, I have a part of me that strives for luxury brands and loves luxury brands. It's, I think, inevitable for anyone that gets sucked into this hobby. But horological component of the hobby still remains more important to me. So when someone asks me, why are you buying Rolex now? And why are you buying Omega now? You see, I think I have to be honest. I'm buying now Rolex because I can get it. I'm buying Rolex now partially as the investment. I'm buying Rolex now because of the value retention. Those are honest reasons. And then comes love for Rolex, love for the timepiece, love for the aesthetics. You see, just recently, I was offered Rolex Skydweller white dial. And I'm going to confess, I love that watch. I actually loved that watch in a white dial. But I turned it down because it wasn't a blue dial. And maybe I even like, maybe I even like this white dial more. But it's less in demand. And I'm starting to perceive Rolex watches in what's more in demand. So that is not necessarily approach of the watch enthusiast. Now, mind you, I still love Rolex watches. Don't misunderstand me. And I love the company. I love what they achieved. I love their history. I love everything they are, and they are extremely important to the watch industry. But I'm talking from a personal feelings perspective from my end. The other thing that kind of started to bother me with Rolex, and I mentioned that in the previous videos, is that it's more and more a symbol and status symbol, and less love for watches. When I see collections consisting solely of the hard-to-get Rolex pieces, I get nauseated. Then I realize, well, that's me as well. But you know what? I do branch out to other brands. I do enjoy watches from other brands for different reasons. So, going back to this, why do I buy Rolex? Well, I buy Rolex because I love Rolex, but I also buy it because it's hard to get, because of the value retention, because I want something that not everyone can have. Why do you buy Omega? I buy Omega because for the love of the actual watch. I buy Omega because for the actual aesthetics of the watch. I buy Omega for the quality of the watch. I buy Omega because it's a good value. But I definitely don't buy Omega because I want to impress someone. I don't buy Omega because of the value retention. And I don't buy Omega because it's hard to get. I try to buy them at the right price, but I really enjoy them. And even my authorized dealer laughs and he says, Rolex in a safe, Omega on the wrist. And you know what? He knows me well. He knows my affinities. He knows what I like about watches. He knows how I feel about the watches. When I shared this with a couple of friends, one of them commented that I'm like a broken record lately. And maybe I am. But you know what? It is a message that is brewing inside of me. And I want to say that I start to love Omega a lot. And I think I love it for the right reasons as the watch geek, as a watch enthusiast. And I'm catching myself liking Rolex for the reasons that are not necessarily relevant to a hobbyist, to somebody who loves these things solely for the beauty of the watch. Another thing, I am a member of various communities online, in forums, and so on. And I can tell you that I find the Omega communities being much more knowledgeable, much more passionate about horology, and much less vain and focused on status, wealth, and so on. While the Rolex groups scream from people who are begging, pleading for attention. They want to show us all how wealthy they are, how much they own, how powerful they are. But in reality, that has nothing to do with love for watches. Very rarely I see Rolex watch enthusiast that is solely focused on the beauty of the watch, quality of the watch, reflecting on the story behind the watch, history, and so on. It is more of, I can have what you can't. Look at my watch, my car, my swimming pool, my house, my vacations, and everything that surrounds me screams, I am better than you. Insecurities to the highest level. So those are the things that are turning me off a little bit. Don't for a second assume that I will not appreciate and love Rolex. I love Rolex design, the evolution of the design, the quality of the watch. And you know what? I had a very good conversation with somebody where we did a battle of the Omega Planet Ocean versus versus Rolex Sub. And you come to conclusion that it is close battle. You know what I mean? There are certain things that prevail toward the Omega Planet Ocean. There are certain things that prevail toward the Rolex Sub. I'm going to do one of those. Omega Planet Ocean is coming. That's my next Omega watch. And I'm going to do a bit of a video comparing those two and sharing this Omega Planet Ocean versus Sub, which I think is a fair competition. A lot of them are comparing the Omega Seamaster to Rolex Sub. I don't think that's a right one. I think Planet Ocean is a fair competitor to Rolex Sub. And the other one that we did was the Omega Speedmaster 321 in steel that's supposed to come out soon versus Daytona. That was an interesting battle. That was a close one. So, you know what? I love both brands. I am definitely on Omega kick. I start to enjoy more of the watches themselves and what I like about watches, and I'm less concerned about hard to get stuff and trying to impress someone else and so on. I love Rolex that I have. I love what I enjoy about Rolex, and I think I need to revisit the whole passion about Rolex and understand it a little bit better myself. This is more of a reflection, self-reflection on the topic. I'm sure many of you have the similar thoughts and similar process. I don't want anyone to misunderstand this as being favoring one brand over the other. I think they're both wonderful in their achievements. And I think that truly, if you are watch enthusiast, we can agree that both brands contribute a lot to hobby and to our love for watches. Just a short reflection on the topic I find interesting. All the best to all of you. And once again, please remember to subscribe. Thank you.